The more control that the narcissist has over his or her victim, the worse that narcissist will behave and can behave over time at any given point in time. And they may even get to the point where they can seduce friends, even the current primary supplies, friends for extramarital affairs. And that supply will not only forgive the narcissist, but will actively help that narcissist cover up their extramarital affairs to keep their marriage in this type of jailer prison arrangement or dynamic, and keeping that intact. And I have seen it happen. When a narcissist identifies and locks on to such a person, that narcissist is going to launch a shock and awe love bombing campaign, making that person believe beyond any shadow of a doubt that they have met their one and only and the love of their life. If it's a woman, their Prince Charming or whoever, however you want to state it. This gets the victim physically and chemically addicted to the feel-good brain chemicals of the idealization or love bombing stage or seduction phase. And this can be as strong as a hit of heroin. So now the victim needs a hit, and only the narcissist can give the victim the hit of what it is they need. But the sources of supply are only able to give the narcissist their hit of positive or negative fuel. So the narcissist understands that you will tolerate a certain amount of horrific things that come from that narcissist as long as the feel-good chemicals are still introduced into your system at one point or another. And this is also known as breadcrumbing, when the things get worse and worse and they feed you less and less and less affection or those feel-good chemicals, and you are left almost in a withdrawal-like state. The narcissist knows exactly how to find the right victim and how to take that victim prisoner to serve the narcissist's needs, to make that narcissist look like a nice, established, well-rounded family man, or whatever it is that that narcissist needs to look like at that time. If you can help them fulfill that role by fulfilling your role, unspoken role, which come with unspoken rules, then you're golden, at least for a little while they will go out and seek narcissistic supply from more independent and less beaten down targets behind your back, almost at day, probably from the very first day of devaluation. They know, the narcissist understands that they've got a good guaranteed doormat punching bag to come back home to. And I hate to put it that way, but that is the brutal, honest truth. This addiction to these feel-good chemicals gives the narcissist the full psychological control that narcissist seeks. And the narcissist gets off on the control more than anything else. It makes that narcissist the master of not only your universe, but several other people that are hiding right under your nose universe. And a real live person, they get excited over knowing that a real live human being is under their absolute control, that you are their puppet, and that you will behave exactly as that narcissist wants you to behave, pushing the victim right to the edge where that narcissist will throw the victim a tiny little crumb, like I just mentioned, the breadcrumbing thing, and relieved, the victim forgives the narcissist almost immediately. They're so relieved, deluding yourselves that things will be better now. And we did delude ourselves. And the abuser survives to abuse another day because of this. When criticized, the narcissist is infamous for lashing out in absolute rage and anger. Anyone who criticizes them is considered to be an enemy, and they are demeaned as a loser or a rat or any one of their favorite adjectives to describe somebody. The narcissist has all of the answers and is an expert on all matters, and you must accept this or face the consequences. If you seem bored or the narcissist perceives that you are not listening, you will be reprimanded and you may suffer rage for your disrespect. The narcissist will cut off all communication and go cold on you for no apparent reason, leaving you wondering what you did or said, calling and texting that narcissist incessantly, begging them just to get a reply. Unquestioned, absolutely unquestioned obedience. You will learn to walk on eggshells and to never question an opinion or an action done by the narcissist. Your narcissist will expect to be treated special at all times, no matter how you are feeling. If you're sick, that narcissist always comes first, and they will not even notice that you feel upset or hurt. Again, they will promise to change their behavior, and that right there is upsetting and downright abusive to you. Just that alone. Give you an Academy Award-winning apology and then turn around to do the exact same thing hours, days, or weeks later. The narcissist will use intimacy as a power and control mechanism to demean you. And they may be great lovers, as many narcissists are. They will withhold and not care about anything that has to do with you, your pleasure, your needs, or your wants, your feelings about intimacy. They want nothing to do with it. And they are basically forcing intimacy and sex on you for personal gratification and nothing that has to do with your own. They are very hypersensitive to how they are perceived by others. So you will be very well groomed by being demeaned and raged at, for example, to not say anything negative about the narcissist in public or to clarify untrue statements that are shaded or totally untrue. You must uphold at all times the narcissist's fake persona or the mask, or there is a huge price to pay. The narcissist may control you by withholding money or threatening to cut you off financially. The narcissist will always try to isolate you from your friends and family, and sometimes even their own, after they have integrated them as your only go-to people after losing contact with your own family due to isolation. And this is a very common occurrence and a very, very sad one. And meanwhile, the narcissist is putting on this nice guy front to their friends and family, and they're making you atone for every sin that you have committed in your past that they have pulled out to use for their purpose. And it doesn't matter if it happened 15 years ago and they weren't there, they didn't even know you. Previous divorces, abortions, job losses, your bad childhood, money problems, they are going to privately devalue you as being inferior, incapable, and unworthy of anything that the narcissist has to give you, at least good things. Eventually, this behavior will spill over into a public to a public way, and they will see that narcissist, see you being devalued by the narcissist, and the narcissist will outshine you in public by arriving late, wearing exotic designer clothing, using overdramatic speech, or by making grand late entrances as if you're trailing behind, as if you are just a member of their court. So they're going to do crazy things like threaten to divorce you or leave you over every single fight that you have or every single perceived slight. Sometimes the narcissist will insist on spending money that you don't have for things like fancy cars, dinners, houses, clothing, and jewelry, things to make you appear more affluent, usually on social media. And it doesn't matter if you are this affluent or not. That narcissist is going to make sure that those things are there, if they're that type of narcissist. And if you try to control in any way or have anything to do with how money is spent, you will be labeled as a bore and a wet blanket to all of their fun. You will not be communicated with. You will be dictated to as if you were a cadet in their military. Orders will be given and expected to be carried out by you as soon as humanly possible. A narcissist is able to keep a person or a victim in a relationship with them, no matter how badly that narcissist behaves, because of the cycle of abuse and their exploiting that cycle of abuse, whether they realize it or not. Happy, positive, and loving behavior towards the victim, interdispersed with distant, rejecting, and emotionally abusive behavior, creates what is known as a trauma bond or Stockholm syndrome. A narcissist very carefully selects their victims for a grooming slash testing phase where the narcissist learns about how much abuse said people or person will tolerate. And they are looking for people who are strong, so they can stand up to the abuse, to garner that negative fuel that becomes precious to them after the devaluation has started. And so these people are strong people, naturally going to stand up for the truth, but they are also inherently insecure with very low self-esteem and always wondering if they are good enough, whether or not they are good enough. And these people are usually people pleaser types, and this makes them very, very vulnerable to the narcissist's criticism, allowing that narcissist to achieve psychological control and power.